Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey, Sean. Welcome back from Christmas, my man. How was Christmas for you?
Good. Really good. I don't have those headphones anymore. I got a little Bluetooth headphones, so
maybe a
couple upgrades.
Oh, yeah? How about the picks? Did you get a upgrade in those too?
Well, hopefully. I mean, New Year's Eve, there's nothing to bet on, so some time to reflect.
So you're going to be able to – there's nothing on New Year's Eve at all?
There was like nothing to bet on New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve.
No,
Christmas Eve, there was nothing to bet. It's weird, nothing to bet on Christmas Eve, but tons to bet on Christmas Day.
Yes. Well, the good thing is I gave people good Christmas gifts on Christmas Day. You didn't put any picks up Christmas Day, but I was
I did not.
Undefeated in the NFL, and I was really thinking about withdrawing the Denver thing after going 2-1 yesterday. But in the early part, because I just felt like I said, if Sam Darnold completes this and I get lucky, if I pull a Sean and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, then I will go ahead and But then I said, yeah, you know what? And then they just, I don't know. I mean, there was one of those games that neither team played very well. So, what did you learn, Sean? That's how we like to start off Monday. So, what did you learn in the NFL?
Well, I learned, and you probably should
know already.
Things came full circle again. I mean, look, halfway through the year, we buried the Chiefs. Buffalo was a team that, they were in trouble. Baltimore was a team that was going good. We, come full circle now. Buffalo's in the lead. Kansas City's looking good. Like they're going to have home field advantage in the AFC. And what about like Davis Mills for Texans? I mean, I don't know if you guys watched his first couple starts, but he looked horrible. And now, I mean, he looks like a guy who could be, I'm not going to say a starter in the NFL, maybe. I mean, he's got no talent around him and he's looking good, but he looks like a serviceable backup, at least in his career. I mean, what he's doing now as a rookie with no talent around him. I mean, and the Chargers just choked.
Chargers, yeah. I mean, they're probably the most disappointing team, I would say. One of the most disappointing teams. I'd also say that they don't play defense in and around the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area.
Yeah, really.
Right? I mean, what did they, between those two teams, did they give up over 100 points, no?
Yeah, and probably almost 1,000 yards passing too.
Probably. I mean, Dak Prescott at 300 at halftime. I think Joe Burrow was like 7 yards short at halftime, so they had to go over.
And Burrow was over 500 for the day.
I mean, just absolutely brutal. And I don't know. I told you 2 weeks ago I felt like the Baltimore defense gave up in the middle of the game, and then they kind of came back at the end. So they maybe were they gave up yesterday. Yeah. And the Washington defense, I don't know if they gave up, but they sure as hell didn't show up.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, I mean, look at this now. Let's remember this. Look how great Dallas's offense look. They should look pretty good every week, but it depends on who they play, on what they look like that. They're just so inconsistent.
One thing though is these teams, like you say, so it depends on where you're trending, right? And when you're trending. Baltimore, early in the year, Buffalo was the team everybody thought they were going to win everything, right? But they never could quite figure out how to run the ball outside of Josh Allen, right? He's the only one that's consistently run the ball well there for them. Then you had the Chiefs. Everybody was double team, just putting a blanket over the top. And it looks like maybe the Mahomes has finally said, okay, fine, I'll take what's available instead of trying to force the ball down the field. And they seem to have adapted. But, there's another wave coming of something else that's going to come at them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you had you had all that trouble in Las Vegas, but it seemed to just completely unravel when Gruden got let go, right? So maybe he was a better coach than people thought he was. And then you have the Cowboys, right? They were up, they were down, they're up, they're down. But if you look at the teams right now, who's kind of on the upswing, right, heading into the playoffs? Not necessarily who's peaking. So I think Kansas City might be peaking right now. I think you have the Cowboys maybe on the upswing. I think the Rams are definitely on the upswing heading into the playoffs. So I think those are some teams that you're going to have to kind of look out. The Bills, I think, are upswinging again now, right? They came down. They exercised their demons yesterday, beating New England in New England.
So the interesting part here is, are the Colts peaking or are they on the upswing or a little of both?
I think they're probably about to do one of these. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, a team that might be on the upswing kind of at the bottom right now is Tennessee, right? Because they might be just starting that process of turning back up the hill. They got the wide receiver back. A.J. Brown made a huge difference. I mean, he's the only guy that Tannehill targeted. But I think just having a couple of components, some comfort back, they're starting to play defense, and they certainly have a very good coach. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tennessee kind of.
If they get Henry back too.
Well, he's supposed to be back by the playoffs, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I think one thing yesterday proved too, right? Quarterbacks matter, man. Tom Brady doesn't have nobody, right? Antonio Brown hadn't been around in a long time. Some guy named Sigel, I think that was his name, right? Sigel? I don't even know his name. Guy's got like 100 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Give him a week with any wide receivers that he can practice with, and they're going to come out and look fine. You can give Cam Newton all the time in the world with the wide receivers. The dude's done.
Yeah.
And they were awful.
And, and Darnold came back in and he didn't look any better. So it wasn't even like
he did look better though. If you look at the yards, here's what I think. Cam Newton right now in this current form of Cam Newton absolutely crushes the value of every other offensive player on your team. Right? Because he's not going to hand the ball off because he'd rather run it himself, right? So he's the bigger, stronger guy. And then he's inaccurate. So he kills the running back value. He kills the wide receiver value. At least Sam Darnold, he's not going to run. So now you have more options in terms, and he can still pass the ball, something Cam Newton really can't do.
Yeah.
And I feel like, as I played the over in that game, I feel like if Sam Darnold had played the whole game, they would have scored more than 6 points.
Should have, yeah.
Yeah. So Cam's done. He's done.
But he's the type of guy that some reason they keep finding a spot for him. So if he wants to keep playing, they'll find a spot for him.
He's done, Sean.
He should be.
He's done. I think I think Cam Newton is absolutely, when this season's over, it's going to be hard for him to find a job. People saw how terrible he played in New England under Belichick. They saw how badly he performed so far in Charlotte. Maybe he's got to do do what Tim Tebow tried to do, but maybe more successfully, change positions. He's clearly got athletic talent. The talent's not playing quarterback anymore. Make him a fullback or a running back or a tight end and see what that brings.
Yeah, and that's another thing you brought up, New England. That's another thing. Maybe we knew this before, but it's for sure now. New England needs to be in front and in control of the game. Once they get behind, they cannot play from behind.
Well,
Once Buffalo scored that
on the outside.
Once Buffalo scored that first touchdown, you could kind of see it was not going to go New England's way.
Well, New England needs some playmakers. I've said many times that football is all about playmakers. Who is a playmaker on the offense for the New England Patriots? Name one.
Well, I mean,
name one.
They don't have one.
Oh, there you go, Nelson Aguilar again.
No. I was gonna say if they had the Nelson Aguilar of Oakland, then it would be fine. But they don't. They have all kinds of possession receivers again.
There you go, Nelson Aguilar again.
Jacoby Myers is a possession receiver.
Dude, do you got like a Nelson Aguilar fat boy on your wall?
No, I do
fat
not.
head, whatever they're called.
No.
Anyway, Sean, well, let's get off to the sports today. Let's talk about the games that are at hand. There's not really a whole lot to talk about today. You got one college basketball game, Brown versus Syracuse. Well, that's a sad statement that Syracuse is only a 7 or 8 point favorite against Brown. What the hell happened to that university's basketball team? Then you have the NFL game, obviously, the Dolphins and the Saints, and a handful of NBA games where every team has about 30 guys listed as out. So it's a wonderful betting card tonight where you have uncertainty across the board. Let's start in the NFL, the National Football League, with the Saints, Sean, against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are a 3-point favorite. They opened up as a 3.5-point underdog. Tyson Hill out, Simeon out, and that line goes to swing 6.5 points, Sean. What do you think?
So I think it's probably on the right side. The only thing is the Saints are getting most of the players back. I mean, you got Davenport questionable, Armstrong, offensive lineman, questionable. Those are two big players. We'll see if they play or not. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I would lean the Dolphins here. I'm going to do. I know you don't have a FanDuel. I don't think you see the boost. They have a boost on there that I think is pretty much money, and I'm going to make this official. Dolphins plus 3.5 and under 44.5 for plus 100. I don't see the Dolphins losing by more than a field goal, and I don't see this going in the mid-40s.
I'm going to make a really strange proclamation right now, Sean. Okay, so looking at the number, -3. The -3, 60% of the tickets are on the Dolphins, but 76% of the money is on the Dolphins. On the total, all the way down to what, like 37.5 now? That's an absurdly low NFL total.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they can't go under that number. Here's the observation I'm going to make. Ian Brock is going to be an upgrade from Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian. Mark my words.
Okay, well, I got Mark Ian Book,
whatever his name is. Book. You can brook it. But he's going to be an upgrade. If you look at his Notre Dame numbers compared to Taysom Hill at BYU, minus his sophomore year, minus his sophomore year in running, Book's numbers running are not much different in college than where Taysom Hill. And I know Tyson's got some play experience in the NFL. The game is not going to be as fast as for him as it will be for Ian. But Ian went to Notre Dame, recruited by a better school. That means coming out of high school, people observed him as a better as a better prospect. Otherwise, he would have went to BYU instead of Notre Dame. Notre Dame is, it's not SEC school, but it's a notch below some of the best schools, but they still are able to recruit nationally. I'm telling you, and when you think about Sean Payton, the coach, he's not a, you suck, I'm not going to let you do anything kind of coach. He's a, I'm putting you in that spot. I'm expecting you to perform coach, right? He's going to put him in there, and I don't think he's going to hold back. I don't think he's going to be handoff Kamara, handoff Ingram, handoff Kamara, handoff Ingram. I think he's going to come out and he's going to be aggressive because no one's expecting him to be aggressive. And I think the kid's going to be a better thrower than Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian. His numbers were better in height, better in college. And he had an excellent touchdown to interception ratio. I don't think he's going to turn the ball over much. And if he does what I say he's going to do, Sean, the Saints are going to not only cover, they're going to win this game. I have no doubt about it. Here's why. Tua is an okay quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. Their passing offense is They don't have any deep threats at all, right? Waddle's a possession receiver. Parker's a possession receiver. He doesn't like to throw the ball down the field, so it's chip, 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 chip on the way down the field, all the way from Miami. They can't run the ball, and that New Orleans defense is dominant against the run. So it's going to be a one-dimensional, can hardly move the ball down the field offense Dolphins against a very good, aggressive, physical New Orleans defense. And you're going to find that Book Ian. We'll just go with Notre Dame Ian is going to be a lot better than people expect he is. I'm taking the Saints to win this game, money line plus 145.
Wow, and that is a statement because you like taking those points.
Yes,
so
I do.
I will say, I don't know where. Maybe it was just preseason, but I thought he'd look better too. And I saw a game with him, and he did not look very well. It might have been preseason. I don't know. Maybe he came in. I guess he didn't come in the game. Maybe he did. I don't know, because I know he hasn't made an official start. But there was a time where he came in that I thought he was going to look better than what he actually did. But I do agree with you.
Better today. He's going to be an upgrade. He's going to be a better thrower than anything that they've seen so far this year after Winston came out.
I will agree with you that Sean Payton's going to be aggressive. The only concern there is the Dolphins do have an aggressive defense that do thrive on turnovers, so that would be my concern. But then the other way is
try to get. Kamara. You can get Kamara in the open space, and he's a playmaker, right? All the playmakers are on the Saints side of the offense. Every one of them in the game. All you got to do is get Kamara in space with the ball, and he'll make something happen. You can get Callaway in space with the ball. He might make something happen. So I think you got all the playmakers on one side. Even Vanett is a down-the-field tight end. So I feel like they have a more vertical opportunities than Miami's going to have.
Yeah, my concern taking the Dolphins now, I'm getting a 3.5 with this way, but is Tua's turnovers. He was there for a while playing it close to the best, and now he's starting to turn the ball over as well.
They're going to be, and that defense
not
is
afford
aggressive.
to do that.
That defense is aggressive. All right, so you're going to take the the Dolphins laying 3.5 or getting?
No, this is a FanDuel special. It's Dolphins plus 3.5 and under 44.5 together for plus 100.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. I just hope I hope that the Saints win by 1 and that the game goes at 40. The total is really impossible to tell what's going to happen there. All right, Sean. So the next slate of games for us to discuss is in the NBA. Again, I don't know how in the world you can bet any of these most of these NBA games tonight. You go through these rosters, man, it's 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 deep. COVID, illness. Never mind teams that have players with bad ankles and stuff like that. So bad ankles, bad elbows, and head problems. So is there anything you like in the NBA?
Well, I know the Hornets got a couple players out, but the Rockets have a couple guys questionable, and they've been really struggling. I'm going to take Charlotte giving up the 7.5. I think they blow out the Rockets. The Rockets have been giving up a ton of points. Charlotte usually scores a ton of points. So I'll take Charlotte giving up 7.5. The other one that I was questionable on, I'm not going to do it because I don't know all of the Bulls have a ton of players out too, but then so do the Hawks. But I feel like it's a 50-50
the Bulls,
there.
I feel like the Bulls have most of their prime players in, whereas the Hawks have most of their key players out.
Yeah, and it was I don't know if Trae Young was officially ruled out yet or not. There was a slight chance he might come back. I was thinking if you get him back and you get the 4.5 points, but there's too many questions there. I'm going to stay away from it. So really the only thing I like is Charlotte giving up to 7.5.
Yeah, the only game to me tonight too is Charlotte because of all the teams in the NBA, they're the healthiest team. When you when you look through the roster tonight, there's only like 4 players that are out.
Yeah, I mean,
Houston's list is, it's not as long as other people's lists, and if you look to the one, they're the second best shooting team in the league, Charlotte. Whereas Houston's got the 28th worst defense in the league. Yeah. So it's one of those matchup styles make fights, and the fight does seem to be to the advantage of Charlotte. Although the way they play defense, they can have a 14-point lead and it disappear in about 30 seconds.
I was going to say, it's a really high total, 235 too. We haven't seen too many of those totals this year. But then again,
I noticed today a lot of them are creeping back up again.
Well, the Spurs just scored, 143, and somebody else scored 143 or 144 yesterday too. So
a lot of these, G League teams out there. Right?
Yeah.
So it's tough to say what's going to go on in some of these.
So you're taking Charlotte officially too?
Yeah, that's it. That's the only game in the NBA I actually kind of like, and that's it's a sports betting show, and I had to find something in the NBA, and of all the things in the NBA, it's the one thing that I liked. Otherwise, everything else, I was like, you hit that list of players out, and it's just every 10 deep. You don't know what you're getting. And I told you, watching the NBA, in fact, watching a lot of sports anymore is becoming kind of boring in a lot of respects because everybody's so metrics driven that you don't see, some of the creativity you used to see out of players and out of teams anymore. Everything is so, we got to do it this way, because that's what the computer models say. And the NBA, as it was with its top players in the league, was borderline unwatchable because all these guys drive cast three, and if the three hits the, if they're on their threes, it looks pretty. But if they're missing, which is happening a lot, you get 14, 15, 16-point quarters. How can you watch an NBA, the best players in the world, and say to yourself a 16-point quarter is good basketball? You can't. And if you look through the lines on every team, there's one quarter where one team struggles to hit 20. And that's, to me, it's just that it's not like it's 1985 and it's the Jordan versus, 91, Jordan versus the Pistons when they played basketball. And when you went in the lane, you got body slammed like it's the WWE, Scottie Pippen, right? You can't play defense anymore. It's against the rules. And they still can't score 20 in a quarter. But in any case, that's just my rant for the day. College basketball, Sean.
They're just so streaky.
Brown versus Syracuse. Anything there?
No, I got nothing for you. Yeah, nothing on that one.
Yeah, me either, Sean. I was thinking Syracuse has got to be the team that wins that game, but I don't know. Then I ran through the numbers and it's like, wait a minute, Brown is actually going to be competitive against Syracuse? How the mighty have fallen. Time to get Jim Boeheim back, or somebody who thinks like Jim Boeheim.
Yeah, right, I mean, Sean, is that game in Syracuse or is that a neutral? I feel like that's got to be a neutral.
Well, no matter where it is, if they're playing on the playground, Syracuse should be favored by more than 8.5 based upon program history, right?
Yeah.
So any final thoughts before we get up and out of here on Monday? Why don't you recap the little bit that you did today?
So I did the FanDuel special, Dolphins plus 3.5 and under 44.5 for plus 100. And then I took Charlotte, giving up to 7.5 points.
I'm in agreement with you on Charlotte, Sean. I'm taking Charlotte because they're the healthiest team, and you got the style that makes fights that should benefit them. And then in the NFL, Ian Book is going to be better than Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill. And you're going to see the Saints offense be aggressive tonight. And I feel like the defensive matchup favors the Saints as well. I mean, that side of the ball is going to be on the field too. 2 parts to the game. Well, actually 3 parts to the game. But in any case, I'm taking the Saints to win this game outright at plus 145, Sean. I think that's the bet of the night. So I just jinxed it. Take Miami all over the place. All right, Sean, before we get up and out of here, if folks want to follow us online or hit us up at Moneyline Madman, what do they do?
You go to Facebook or Twitter, Moneyline Madmen, and then you can also go to the website, register for free. It takes less than a minute. Post your picks, follow along, post what you think about our picks, and then also subscribe to the YouTube channel here.
Just keep it mostly clean when you talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not big on censorship along those things, but anything that Google will ban, we'll ban. So you can't say COVID's a hoax. No. You can't say you can't say any of those things that would get us in trouble.
It's like poker.
Even if they're true.
With our picks, it's like poker. Know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So know when to tail and know when to fade.
Yes, mostly fade. All right, Sean, I will see you in 23-3 when hopefully there's a little bit more. There's really not a lot of college basketball tomorrow either. There's a couple pro basketball games. College football games start to pick back up tomorrow. That'll be good.
Yeah, I feel like they're on some kind of break with this college basketball.
And yeah, well, they are on break in college football too, and because of all these teams are bailing out of games, right?
Yeah, that stinks for bowl season, but bowl season overall. I mean, like today with Nevada, all these players missing. I wish there was a way. It used to be what you got in the regular season is what you got in the bowls, and now talk about a terrible product. That's what bowl season's become.
Which is bad for sports. Like I said, it's getting boring, right? It's time for some
new
juice.
Crazy thing is, it's getting record viewership too. People are still tuning in.
Well, what are you going to do? It's the way it goes. They're tuning in because you know why they're tuning in, Sean?
Because they get bet.
Because gambling is legal now. Yes, that's exactly why. Because now people no longer care about the players or the teams. They care about winning their bets.
And that's why you got 44 bowl games too. Yeah, that's why you got 44 bowl games too. The more they get you to bet on, the better.
Absolutely. All right, Sean, we're up and out of here today. Good luck with your bets, everybody. Hopefully they all end up winners and stuffing your pockets full of holiday cash. Sean and I will be back in 23-3. Hit us up on the socials over at Moneyline Madman. Until then, good luck with all your picks.